So I've got a right nice little combo today based around three things: a lasting impression rocket launcher, Izanagi's burden, and then Gryfalcon's Hauberk. A lasting impression rocket launcher, when that's about to explode, while we're waiting, we're going to fire him in the head with Izanagi's just like that. So while it's waiting, we're going to stick him in the head with our Izanagi's, cause some massive damage. We're going to add Gryfalcon's Hauberk to that. Your weapons gain a bonus damage briefly after you emerge from being invisible. It's a 35% damage increase. The rest of it isn't important for this setup, but we'll go through it anyway. When you're invisible and defeat a combatant using a finisher, you give you and your nearby allies an overshield and increased class ability regen. Lasting impression rocket launchers, Void in particular, because then we can take advantage of Font of Might. But while that lasting impression rocket launcher is waiting to explode, we're going to be using our Izanagi's burden. And in the first clip that I'm about to show you, I've just got some numbers, and this is just a standard clip. There's nothing going on here whatsoever, just standard, there's no buffs. So the impact is hitting for 22,988 from the rocket launcher. While I'm waiting, I'm going to fire my Izanagi. That hits for 121,451, and then the detonation hits for 91,536. That's a total damage of 235,975. And now what I'm going to do in this clip is just get a Font of Might elemental well like so. So I'm going to pick that up, and that's going to improve my Void rocket launcher. And then 38,000, my Izanagi's head hits for 163, and the detonation hits for 154. I'm going to slow it down, get the numbers, see the damage increase. It's absolutely massive. So getting that Void elemental well, I'm going to activate my Hauberk, fire my lasting impression rocket launcher, impact 38,792. My Izanagi's hits for 163, and then bang, the detonation hits for 154. So as you can see, that's the little loop coming out of that invisibility, and that's a total DPS of 357, 218. So that's the sort of loop of play that we need to do, just using our lasting impression rocket launcher. Void ones in particular, there is I think Royal Entry as well, that's another one that could roll with lasting impression. So while we're waiting for that lasting impression to go off, you're going to use your invisibility to use your Hauberk and then stick your Izanagi's to there. Here's some examples of how and when we can use it. Obviously a lot of these GMs this season are going to be arc burn. There is some arc rocket launchers out there that also roll with lasting impression, hothead, but then you're obviously going to lose out on your Font of Might, but it still might be worth it in a GM. So it really deals with like high-end targets pretty easily, like so. If it doesn't kill them, it will leave them practically dead. As you can see, I'm invisible. Hauberk is activated now. I've stuck my rocket in there, and as I'm waiting, I've Izanagi'd him in the head, and he just dies. And then on top of that, even if you don't manage to get your rocket off, just having the Izanagi's extra damage just from your Hauberk is still pretty insane anyway. You've hit some massive numbers on this, to be honest, the way it's set up with the Hauberk and the Izanagi's. 113k, man, that's crazy. Hothead, that's the other arc one that you can run, because a lot of the GMs are arc. That also rolls with lasting impression. So this is, again, just more examples what I'll do. Make sure I'm invisible before I fire my lasting impression rocket launcher. As I'm waiting for that to go off, I'm going to get my Izanagi's ready to go, and then you're pretty much doing three different sort of damage outputs, increasing them via the Hauberk. So it's a really nice little focused damage DPS setup. If you want, you're focusing all your sort of abilities and your weapons into one sort of big number. It really just destroys champions, any type of champion. It just absolutely wrecks them. Really good for burst, short DPS that you're going to cause some massive damage with, like instantaneously. I'm going to show you my build now. It's pretty easy setup, to be honest, so it'll only take me a few minutes. Stay tuned and I'll show you the setup. So this is all you really need with this setup. Because we're running Gryfalcon's Hauberk, going to be dodging to go in and out with invisibility. Reaping Wellmaker is a really easy mod to activate. All you got to do is use your class ability, which we'll be doing all the time, and that's going to spawn a Void Elemental Well on our next weapon kill. And then what you saw in the clips is I'm going to pick that Elemental Well up to spawn Font of Might. That's going to give us a 25% damage increase. It does have to be with Void weapons because we're on a Void subclass. So something like your Tomorrow's Answer, that rolls with lasting impression. And another one is Royal Entry, which is farmable. That's another rocket launcher, the Royal Entry, that's farmable at the moment from the Vanguard sort of playlist strikes. And then what I also do is I actually run 2 font of mites, so you can stack the timers with font of mite as long as you run this mod here, elemental time dilation. 2 font of mites and 1 elemental time dilation will give you 16 seconds of void damage boost, which does stack with the 35% extra from Gryfalcon's Hauberk. That is the little setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll leave a dim link as well.